Hi, it's John here, and I've got a really weird day today because I've got a power outage. So I thought I would try using my iPhone to just give you a quick video. And I want to talk to you about the 20 things I'd wish I'd known about making courses when I started that I know now, which I really hope is going to help you a lot with your courses. Now, the first of these is topic selection. Topic selection is critical because you need to make sure that you have a topic that people want to buy from you. It's no good just making a topic about pogo sticking. I mean, that might be a great sport, jumping up and down on a pogo stick, but nobody's really ever going to buy a topic like that from you. The key thing is to address a demand that already exists. So don't be afraid of competition. The best way to find this out, which actually wasn't available when I started, but is available now, is to go to the Udemy Insights, where you can put in topics and they will provide you with a lot of information, real-time information about who's doing what to whom and what makes money. The two things I think you should look at when you go into Udemy Insights, there's quite a lot of information, but just focus on two things. Firstly, is the top earnings of the earnings of the top course. And you want that to be over $1,000 because there needs to be sufficient financial demand for this course to make it worthwhile. So I always look for a minimum of $1,000. And if it's below $1,000, I find an associated topic that I can pivot my course content to make sure that I address a more valuable topic. The second thing is the search percentile, which is just down and to the left on the screen from the course topic, the earnings part. And that really wants to be above, I would have said 80%, but actually I think 90%. So I look for things which are above 90%. So there's a lot of search volume. Now, don't worry about competition here. You want there to be lots of courses and you want there to be high demand. You can make a better course than they can if you put your mind to it. But the key thing is to go into an area where there's already a lot of demand because people are spending money there. And frankly, if people buy one course on a topic, they will buy a second and a third because they'll continually want to learn from different instructors to get the best they can. So that's the first thing. I have my little list of topics here, so you have to put up with me looking down at the list. The second thing is pain points. You can't produce a course about a generality. Equally, you can't produce a course about everything that's being happy. So, for instance, if you were to produce a course for athletes about how to have a nice stroll in the park, no interest. If you produced a course for athletes about how to run faster, great. They want to achieve a goal and it's a problem, so they'll solve it. If you produce a course for athletes with broken legs about how to get back into running, you're solving a pain problem. So find the pain point in your topic that you think you can best address. And one of the ways to look at that is to go and look at Amazon and look at the books in Amazon and see who's addressing pain points in your topic area. And also look on Udemy and particularly look at the best-selling courses on Udemy and see what pain points they're addressing. So to give you an example, I'm writing a business course at the moment on business strategy. But one of the things I've noticed is that one of the biggest pain points is putting together a business plan. But nobody's actually showing you how to do a business strategy analysis and then create a business plan. So I'm actually doing that. So teaching business strategy, high value, teaching business plan, high value, pain point. How do I create a business plan while I'm developing my business strategy? And you can transfer it across to that. So that's pain points. The next thing I want to talk to you about is audio and video quality. The tech moves so fast, it is incredible, but there's nothing beats good audio quality and good video quality. Now, I'm recording this on my iPhone 11, which is in 4K, which is just amazing. And it's a real first test for me. I'm also just down here recording the audio separately to make sure I've got a second audio track on my Zoom, and I'm recording it at the highest quality level that I can. What I can do with that is to, as long as I don't cut the video or the audio, I can take the audio from either of these particular sources, put it into Audacity. I can up the level in Audacity and improve the quality of the sound in Audacity, and then match it back into the video afterwards, all using ScreenFlow. So getting your audio and video quality right is absolutely critical. Next point, have a clear structure. Now, what I mean by this is, having identified a pain point, you need to make it very easy for your students to go from A to B. So the logical flow through your course must be very straightforward. Now, you can use, there's only a sort of two-dimensional structure in Udemy with sections and lectures, but you can have like section introductions, which basically, let's say we're doing a course on how to make courses, and you go planning, production, publication. You can have a little short section with just an introductory lecture in it saying, here's the beginning of the planning section. And then you can have lots of more sections below that, all to do with planning. So you can add additional layers of complexity to it. But a clear structure is absolutely essential. Looking down, the next point, variety. Variety is the spice of life. And what I mean is, when your students are watching your courses, try to make it as interesting as possible for them. Now, you can have things popping up on the screen behind you. You can have you popping up at the bottom of the screen with everything else around you. You can not be on the screen at all. You can have words moving around. You can also, outside of the video lectures, you can have downloadable resources, which helps them. You can have checklists, other documents. You can put links into other sources off Udemy, providing they're free and they're helpful for the course. I tend not to do that. One thing I'm getting into and really enjoying is assignments. And apparently students absolutely love assignments. It really challenges them and breaks up the learning flow to make them to reinforce a particular lesson. So I would certainly try that. So variety is something you really need to work on. Have a great promo video. Now, the reason I emphasize this so much is because one of the things that will get you more sales and also get you higher rankings is people coming to your course, they're interested, Udemy sent them there, and then they watch your promo video. And if it's rubbish, they won't buy your course, they'll go and find somebody else's course to buy. However, if it's amazing, that may just tip them over to buying the course. The promo video is critical, and they're getting better and better all the time, but so's the tech. So you can do this. You can actually produce a great promo video. It only has to be about 2 minutes, but it really wants to be high impact and get the point across. Udemy have got great resources explaining how to do this. I like to have a little quiet music track in the background because I feel this adds to the production quality. But whatever you do, if you haven't got a good promo video, go and make one to make sure your courses do well. And you can check this in tools by going into your performance tools, look at traffic and conversion, and you can see what your conversion percentage is. If you go into Udemy Insights, you can see what the conversion percentages are for the topic, and you really want your course's conversion percentage over a period of time to be higher than that of the topic average. If it's not, then you need to work on getting more traffic and more conversions. Anyway, and aside, let's talk about search engine optimization and keywords. The keywords are again helped for you by your topic selection. That is your core keyword. And then below that, in Udemy Insights, they show you which keywords are most searched for that topic. So you jolly well want to make sure you're using those keywords that Udemy Insights tell you about. Also go to associated topics, which is shown to the right of the keywords, and look at the keywords for those topics. And make sure those topics and those topics' keywords are also in your keyword mix, so you have the best chance of using it. Now, you need to put your keyword in the title, and you need to put your main keyword at the front of your title. You then need to have it repeated in your subtitle and then scattered through your course description, through who the course is for and what the students will learn from this. It's also a good idea to mention your keywords in your course section titles and your course lecture titles. The more naturally you use these keywords, the better chance the Udemy algorithm has of picking it up. Do not keyword stuff, but be sensible about your SEO and think about it and make it a deliberate policy, because you're helping the organic search in Udemy to find your course. And that's one of the biggest areas of sales. So really important to follow that. I've mentioned traffic and conversion. I want to reinforce this point. Traffic and conversion, I think, is probably the two key metrics that affect the rating of your course. Now, you can find out your course's rating if you go to open a browser, open an incognito window, dump all your cookies. When I do this, I do it in Firefox so that I'm not upsetting all the cookies I've already got set up, because I quite like having the cookies. And then go into Udemy. Don't log in, but just search for your course topic and see where your course comes in the search selection. And you really want to be on page 1, and you really want to be at the top of page 1 if you possibly can be. If you don't see your course on page 1, then you're not ranking high enough and you need to do something about it. The quickest way to improve that situation is to drive traffic to your course, and then to get your course to convert that traffic, which means improving things like the promo video, getting your description better, improving the course if you need to do it. But this isn't going to happen overnight. This is probably going to happen over the course of 1, 2, or 3 months. So you need to measure it and monitor it. And remember, what you measure moves. So it's really important to do this. But it does all come back to traffic and conversion. One of the things I do is I track the traffic and conversion for all my courses on a monthly basis. Udemy gives you 12 months of data per month. So you don't have to do this every month, but every few months, catch it up, see where you are. And then you want to go into your underperforming courses and improve the promo videos, change the descriptions, add some new content to it. Do something to improve the course, to improve your chances of getting more sales. The next piece of advice I would have, and I have done this to a limited extent in the past, but I'm going to do it much more in the future, is collaborate. Now, when you're starting off, it's very difficult to find another instructor who will be rushing to want to work with you, because frankly, you won't have much of an audience, and they will be looking for people with an audience, so that you'll have a decent chance of both benefiting from the new course which you jointly create. And when I say jointly create, I mean jointly create. You both have to work on it together and make a significant input to it. It's not a question of you publishing his course under your name. That's against Udemy T's and C's, and they will slap you for it. So you need to find instructors either with great expertise in hot topics which you can collaborate with and sell to your students and sell in the market. That's fine. So I'm working with a chap at the moment. He hasn't produced a course on Udemy, but he's got a great course on a business topic, which we think is going to do very well. And so I'm helping him to create his first course. This will also help him to launch on Udemy. So it's a sort of win-win. Equally, I'm currently working on another course, again in a business topic, with an instructor who has over 500,000 students. I have about 75,000. And we believe that the topic, again, will do well in both audiences, and it makes sense. So once you've got a few courses up and running, and once you've got an audience of maybe 5,000 to 10,000 students, then it's time to start looking for equal collaborators to help to grow each other's audience and your presence on Udemy. It's not a question about trying to make more money. It's a question about expanding your audience so more people become aware of you. So instructor collaboration is a really, really hot tip. Working with other experts is the next point, and I guess I've sort of alluded to it. It's fine to work with people who have expertise that you don't, who haven't created courses on Udemy, and to then bring them onto Udemy. So that on the one hand, you've got collaboration with other instructors, but on the other hand, you've got the opportunity to create a course in a topic where you don't have expertise, but where you can bring your course creation expertise to bear in terms of shaping the course, influencing it, making some of the lectures, perhaps helping with the production values. There's a lot you can do, and they produce the core content of the course, but you may record some of it and help them with that and help to sharpen it up and help to edit and produce it. Again, a collaborative effort, but you're basically benefiting from their expertise, which you don't have. I want to talk about earnings expectations. And this is, again, something I didn't really understand when I started, but then I was starting in 2013, and at that stage there were 4,000 courses on Udemy. Today I think there's 80,000. So it's a completely different ball game today, or so it seems. But what I didn't have any idea of is how well I would do. Now, in the first month, I made $1,000. And that was partially, I think, because Udemy promoted, in those days, they gave quite a lot of promotion to new instructors for the first month or two. Secondly, I made my first course on basically a review of all the courses in Udemy, which was a great help to anybody who was in Udemy looking to make courses. And there was no way of really understanding in those days what was on Udemy. And I've gone on to make a lot of courses about online courses, and I've talked at conferences, which I love to do, etc., etc. But the key point is today, I think you have to have a much more realistic expectation. And what I would say is that you need to manage that expectation with the amount of courses that you create. And the goal I would set you is in your first year to make $1,000, which is only less than $100 a month from Udemy. And I would recommend that you produce good quality, good length courses, and about one every 2 months minimum. And you need to build that snowball up. Now, the good news is in year 2, I think you can turn that into $6,000, which is about $500 a month. And you can do that by, again, continuing to consistently build a course around whatever topics you want to, but go and do your topic homework, and you can then get your income levels up to about $500 a month. In year 3, if you keep doing the same thing, another 6 courses every 2 months, that you'll then have 18 courses. Some of the earlier courses will be then more mature and be bringing in more regular income. But I think it's perfectly realistic to look to be earning at least $1,000 a month at that stage. That's $12,000 a year. Many of you will exceed this. I think that's quite a conservative estimate. And you'll also find that some of your courses will produce very little income, and other courses will do really, really well. It will be classic Pareto's law, 80-20. You will get 80% of your income from 20% of your courses, I bet you. I find that now. I've got a whole stack of courses which make almost no money. And in fact, some of them I've consolidated into my masterclasses because there was just no point in them being out there. It's better to have fewer very good quality courses which you can focus on, which you can keep up to date, which you can keep developing, than just have a string and hundreds of really low quality courses, because it's not about the numbers, it's about the quality and the content. The next point I wish I'd been more active on, and I am reasonably active, but I took a time off this last year, but I'm back at it, is responding to reviews. Now, the reason this is important is because you do have an instructor average. I think mine's about 4.4 at the moment. And it's affected by the average of all your reviews. Now, I've got 2,000 or 3,000 reviews, but sometimes people get a bit hacked off by Udemy asking them for a review too soon, and they just put in a 1-star or something. Now, if you go back and say, thank you for reviewing, I'm obviously a little concerned that you only think it's a 1-star course. Could you please tell me what I have to do to lift the course in your estimation so that it's a 5-star course? And very often people will go back and they will correct their reviews in the light of that. And it only takes a few people being a bit offhand, but without really thinking about it, to start to damage your overall rating. And of course, once you've got thousands and thousands of reviews, they have relatively little impact individually, but collectively it can make a big difference. And it also helps when people are looking whether to buy your course, they can see how responsive you've been to reviews. So it's good that they can see that you've been answering people who've made comments and left reviews and saying thank you, because it shows them that you're a proactive instructor. Along with that, do make sure you keep on top of the Q&A from your students. You don't have to do a separate Q&A. You don't have to go and do weekly office hours and all that sort of stuff. But if students leave you messages and ask you questions on your course, then it is important that you do your best to answer them. And I think that's a really, really important point. If they've paid money for your course, you owe them that respect. Now, you may not necessarily have an answer. Some of the questions, frankly, might be a bit silly. Some of the questions might be overtly demanding, But equally, I get a lot of questions which I think, oh yeah, that's really quite helpful. And I either try and answer the question to my best of my ability, and even in some cases, I'll go and make an extra video and put it in the course. The next point is keeping your course updated. And this is important because students look when they're considering whether to buy a course, and right at the front, underneath the title, it tells you when the course was last updated. And if your course was last updated 3 or 4 years ago, students are going to be turned off by that. How do you update the course? Not very difficult. You just have to produce, the odd video now and again and add it to the course. Do it with a constructive purpose. Don't just do it for the sake of it, but just keep on top of updates. Maybe produce a new section, something like that. Bring in something from outside. Whatever you do, just try and make sure that your courses are always being kept up to date for about 6 months. Now, as we stand at the moment, I know some of my courses haven't been updated for over a year, but you just have to judge the workflow and see what you can do about that. It is important to keep on top of keeping your courses updated. Now, if you've got all these lovely courses on Udemy, one thing that I wish I'd been able to do when I started was publish on other platforms. Frankly, the other platforms at that stage weren't there. So today I publish my courses on Skillshare. I was publishing on Skillfeed and doing quite well on there, but they closed the platform down. That's always a risk. I'm on Forbes, I'm on The Economist, and I'm on a series of other platforms and schools, which frankly don't produce anything like the amount of money that Udemy does, but they're all at an early stage. And I think it's worth seeding some time and effort with some of these platforms, because as they grow, if you're on there early, then hopefully your income will grow as they develop their platforms. Frankly, some of them will crash and burn, but that's the risk you take. Be aware as we stand, this is March 2020, if you're in and subscribed for Udemy for Business, and Udemy puts your course in their business platform, at the moment they're asking that to be exclusive. So you have to let them know if your course is published on other platforms, and you can do that by going into the settings on your course. But just be aware that there's that one little exclusivity where Udemy for Business is concerned. The next point I would say is, having published on other platforms, definitely create your own school. Now, there's 2 reasons for doing this, but I'll explain them in a second. What I mean by create your own school is go and set up your courses on a platform, not a marketplace, like Thinkific, Teachable, Instructor HQ, Zenler, whatever it is, to make sure that you've got somewhere where all your courses exist, and where if Udemy turns you off overnight, you have somewhere that you can send people to buy your courses. The easiest way to do this is to add the courses while you're making the course. So as you add a video to one, you add a video to the other. It's quite a job to go after the event and go and add everything in, because you've got to add in the videos, the downloadable resources, the descriptions, and all this sort of things. Also, it's worth making a list of all the descriptives, keeping a file with all the video files with the downloadable resources, so that if you get approached by another platform and they want to use your course, you can put all that into Dropbox and they can do the work. And if you do that when you're creating the course and have like a blueprints folder, you'll save yourself an awful lot of work. I know from bitter experience by having to reconfigure and reconstruct courses which I made in the past. You'll spend a lot of that time and waste a lot of that time, but you can do that. You can create these blueprints while you're making the course, and that's a really good thing to do. The next thing I wish I had done more of, I have had a YouTube channel for a long time, but I didn't really put a huge amount of effort into it. Now I am, and it's very simple. Udemy is a video platform, and people who like watching videos buy courses on Udemy. YouTube is a video platform, and people who like watching videos watch videos on Udemy. So you're dealing with a very similar audience, and it's worth having connections from your courses across to Udemy or to Thinkific or Teachable or wherever you want to send them. But building your audience on YouTube, which after all is one of the largest search engines, helps you to be found, and then you can send them frankly to wherever you want. But you are building a course, an audience of people who like watching video, which is after all what you're producing. Let's talk about free. Should we be doing free? Now, when Udemy started 7 years ago, when I was on the platform, free was everything, and there was an awful lot of free courses and free coupons, and a lot of emphasis was put on getting just loads of students into your course, because this was all the social proof, and people then went to courses which had lots of students. Udemy have completely de-emphasized the number of students, quite rightly. They're interested in selling courses. So you don't get any rating credit, you don't get any real credit at all anymore for having free courses. Now, I have a couple of small free courses on my platform, purely as a service to my students. Also, Udemy have recently put a change in saying you can't have a free course which is longer than 2 hours, and they're making it more and more difficult to do free. Why? Because they want to sell courses. So I don't think having lots of free courses or free coupons is a good idea. Of course, help people out if they can't afford a course, but otherwise, I think the day of free, particularly on Udemy and certainly on Skillshare, is gone, and I wouldn't think about it, and I would move on and just concentrate on creating premium quality courses which people have to pay for at a premium price. So my penultimate point, what would I emphasize? Well, quality over quantity in terms of the number of courses. It doesn't pay necessarily to have hundreds and hundreds of courses on Udemy. It pays to have good quality courses on Skillshare, where you get paid for so many minutes watched. But again, you need to be focusing on the quality of the content. And this all comes back to helping students solve problems, producing great production values, video, audio, all that sort of thing. So quality over quantity, and make sure that you have really focused on helping your student and doing everything you can in the course to help your student. Often when I'm creating a course, I have a course outline, and I'll suddenly think, oh, yeah, maybe I could add this video. That's going to really help to get that point across. So I'll create an extra video reinforcing a point or going off on a slight tangent somewhere, because I feel that's going to enhance the quality of the course. And it's worth doing that because you're creating great courses for your students. And if they enjoy learning from you, they'll come back and buy more courses. The final point I would make, and this is point number 20, is consistency beats everything. And what you really have to focus on is committing yourself to working hard at this business and regularly producing content, regularly speaking to your students, being available for Q&A, updating your courses, and steadily producing new content and new courses on a regular platform. Now, over the last year, 2019, I went through a big, complicated house move, had a lot of stuff to sort out. Basically, I didn't do any work for 6 months. Now, interestingly, and a great credit to Udemy and the other course platforms, my income went up. But I was conscious of the fact that I wasn't producing any new courses. That I'm now rectifying and working hard on a couple of really quite long and complex, high-quality business courses. I've already alluded to them in this video. So be prepared to consistently produce a course. And I've suggested that maybe one course every 2 months is something you should aim at, depending on how long it takes you to make the course. It took me 6 months to make my first course. It now takes me about a month to make, and working 5 days a week and probably no more than 8 hours a day, and with lots of other things going on and interruptions, it takes me about a month to make a course which is probably going to be 4 to 6 hours long. And there I'm really focusing on the best quality production values and the content for my students. So it's not about just rushing it out. It's about getting the best you've done that you can. Now, if you found this all very helpful, if you've got any thoughts or feedbacks or comments or anything like that, please comment below this video, or you can comment and message me on Udemy. You can find me on Udemy very easily. I'm also on Skillshare. If you're enjoying this content, please definitely subscribe to my channel. It's really important that if you're building your own YouTube channel to build up the subscriptions, I'm producing lots of content like this, trying to produce helpful, interesting content that's going to help you do what you're doing. It's not all about just producing paid content. So I really hope you'll enjoying this, and you'll thank me by subscribing to the channel so you'll see the next video. So those are the things that I wish I had known about course creation and about Udemy before I started. Of course, The platform has moved on a lot. Things have become a lot more sophisticated, much more complex, but much more interesting. And the rewards and the future, I think, is extremely bright. It's a very, very high growth industry. It's a global industry, and I'm really excited about it. And I know you will be too. If you want to know more about learning courses, I'll put a link in the notes below here to take you to my online course creation masterclass on Udemy. And that will help you to get started. It's got pretty well everything in there, and there's more being added on a regular basis that you need to know about creating online courses. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've been John Colley. I'm the 6 Minute Strategist. It's been great to be with you, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon in another video.